Alrighty, everyone. Welcome again. What is it? Only a day or two? Maybe a day. I don't even remember. I got a lot going on. I'll cover that in a minute. But as you can see, for a Sunday, yeah, it's picked up a little bit in the chat room. Um, as always, this is going to, we got a little bit of diversions at the beginning of the video here, to get rid of the stragglers and stuff. They're used to it by now. The views have gone down a little, so they know the game. They know they learned how this is going to go, and they don't want to stay for the whole video. And some of them are skipping to the end, but for the majority of them, they're not. So that's good. But anyway, because I mean, let's get this straight, okay? um, this channel is not going to get monetized. So I'm not doing the views and the stuff don't matter to me because monetization is not gonna, it's not a thing that's going to happen. So that's irrelevant. If anything happens to this channel, it's either through sponsors or affiliate links. But that doesn't have to be either because I'm starting my own security training online course. And yeah, I'm joining, all the people that I talk bad about. But um, talking with my peeps here and stuff, I mean, it's the only thing, that's going to help some of them out. Um, some of them are going to, only a few of them, a small percentage of them are going to join and everything. The majority of them are. We're up to like 100, I think, now in the chat room. There was 20 online just now. There's 18 online now. But yeah, so that's 20%. Out of 100 people that are on the server, only 20 of them are online right now. So it fluctuates between 10 and 20%, throughout the day. But hardly ever gets higher than that, So, but different time zone, people overseas, you know, people, in the States here are asleep. Then when we're up, people overseas are asleep. So, it shifts back and forth. But you know, and as far as other channels promoting their content, or security channels, I'm talking, promoting their online courses and everything. I get it. That's how they're making money. Because I'm sure I don't know. Some of them might be not monetized, but I know a lot of the big ones who aren't. Um, a couple of them I've chatted with, but it's the YouTube policies. They don't play fair, but they'll pick and choose who they want to let monetize and who they don't. And that's their business. I'm running my own business. Everyone's running their own business, and that's all you really need to pay attention to. You don't really need to worry about what other people are doing. But we talk about the same stuff. It just I say things differently, and that what makes me unique, and that's what makes my followers like my videos. Um, we talk about the same subject, we just talk about it differently, but we're both talking. It's just theirs is with motion graphics and my videos aren't. That's the only difference. And like I said before in a prior video, the advantage to that is you don't have the distraction. You don't have, people marveling over the animation and everything, and not and what you're actually explaining to, and it's just going one ear and out the other. They're not learning nothing. Basically, they came. You might as well be a film channel. And they came to watch your animations and motion graphics, not really to hear what you have to say. So yeah, that's distracting, and I don't like that part of it. So if you come here, either you just like hearing my storytelling, or you're actually concentrating and paying attention on what I'm saying because they're literally, unless you're reading along on the board here. But other than that, there's literally nothing else, to entertain yourself. And with that, let's move on, get to what the juice is here today. What happened anyway? Um, I'm starting. My course is going to be a hacker lab. It's going to have video course, on programming, all the languages, Python, assembly, everything, PHP, all the big languages that you need because you're going to need them. It doesn't matter what field, whether you're a pen tester, whether you're a web exploit person, whether you want to, what it doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to need at least one language, either Python or C++, one of the two. And the rest of them are icing on the cake. If you're going to get into web vulnerability and stuff like that, well, you're going to have to add Java to that, JavaScript. Um, so, everything has a requirement. If you're going to be into using Kali, Linux a lot, and all that stuff and getting into that, well, you probably could throw Ruby in there also because Metasploit is, its plugins and stuff and everything is done by Ruby. So, throw that in there. Kind of similar to Python, but different, in its own way. But and Lua, you know, that's another thing like Python. It's a really, really a quick language for proof of concept, and throwing something together really quickly and stuff like that. But and topics, that's just programming language, but it's also going to go into explaining topics and everything. And then there will be labs, like Hack the Box and Try Hack Me and stuff like that. And I'm setting that up as we speak. Is this the one? Yeah, admin right there. That's my uh, Google Cloud setup, and that's only one of them. Now, this is what another thing that's going to set my course up differently than the other ones is because I'm a hacker, so I like I like playing games. I like capture the flags, and setting up game and making people think basically. And so there's going to be different levels. There's going to be level, and I'm going to get to why I got a cheap route in a minute, which is the point of this video. Why I'm starting this video, and that has to do with this answer right here. But um, Cyber Dollar, that's on Cyber Hell. Yeah, he brought up. No, I brought it up. He brought up something about the comment. He didn't see the comment, but yeah, someone made a comment that I should watch Cyber Hell on Netflix. And I'm going to get into Netflix too. We're going to get into the bug bounty program for Netflix in a minute. But uh, he brought that up. That I should see it because it's on sex trafficking. And that's one of my areas. Sex trafficking and missing people. Stuff like that. And so, then the conversations, I answered, he answered, and then, but it was totally unrelated to the video, that the comment was done on. And so after we were done talking and everything, I deleted it. I deleted that comment thread and everything because it was, just completely out of left. It wasn't even a digression. It was just completely out of left field as it, did not pertain at all to the video on that, page. He just made a suggestion that I should watch it because, he watched another video, and he wanted to comment on, my newest video because most, YouTuber content creators, they won't check their past video comments, because that's in the past, But if you make a comment on, the most recent one, usually they'll take a look at it, see what it is. Well, actually, they'll see it in their drop down notice without going to the video, but yeah, usually they'll at least take a look at it. Unless they're these channels, they get hundreds of, comments a day, then they probably have someone that filters that, out for them, and takes out the important ones. But anyway, that's a digression. That's getting into something totally different. But anyway, the Cyber Hell, I went and watched it, because I've got every streaming service there is, Paramount, Netflix, Disney, Discovery, yeah, you name Amazon Prime, Apple, you name them, we got them. But I went out over and checked it out, and that's what I told him about, and I was familiar with it, even though it's not my area. Um, uh, it's not even similar, really. But right here, he says right this guy right here, he says the same thing. That's not a small difference. But I told him, I'm familiar with the cyber hell documentary, the topic, and it was true, it did happen. But and like I said, I call it right here a documentary, not a movie, and it's not sex trafficking, it's sex exploitation. So yeah, the YouTuber doesn't even understand a lot. But yeah, I figured that out after I watched it. That it was a sex exploitation scam and everything going on. And that's what he says here. That's not a small difference, between, sex trafficking and sex exploitation. The difference between those two. They're not really, to the average Joe out there, they might say, "Oh, isn't that the same thing?" No, not even. But I get it. You got, most of society, isn't into this, either one of them, and they don't know, they just know, what they see in the media, and you can't believe that, definitely. So, but yeah, that's all that was, a movie recommendation, and I covered that, because I know as I'm talking about what this video is supposed to be about, I know you guys are reading up here, and someone might make a comment, what's with that cyber hell thing mentioned in the chat? I'll be like, did you listen to the video? That wasn't the topic. I know, but it was sitting there. I got bored and I just read it. See, this is what happens when you don't have motion graphics. Um, but anyway, let's get on with the point. Um, okay, the whole point of this is this right here. No, is this right here. Um, oh, and this will answer also, Kira right here. Do you recommend any high quality courses for IT and AI and things that are advanced in general? Um, that's what I want to underline here is advanced, because that's what I'm going to get into with why did I keep clicking over there? That's going to come up, but not now. With this now, high quality. Okay, that's relative. It's a matter of opinion on whatever course you take. What I consider low quality, you might consider high quality, and vice versa. But anyway, by IT, what do you mean by internet in general? Internet, you mean by IT as it involves, as it relates to security, such as hardware hacking and stuff like that. That I do know about. That's going to take some money for you to get into, though. I have a reflow machine. I have a hot air station. I've got voltmeters. I've got, stuff like that. I got to it in this, all these things, if you want the good one, the quality ones, and you should, if you're going to get into this, it's going to cost some money, to buy the hardware you need, I'm going to talk about people getting into bug bounty right now, because it's a very, very low cost entry, to get into. You basically need a laptop, a browser, and a proxy, which Burp Suite Community works just fine, and that's it. You're in the bug hunting game with just that. So yeah, a big difference. If you're talking about information technology in general, then that's another talk. We're a security channel here. That's not really, for this channel. And as far as AI go, what do you mean by AI? Do you want to learn how, to write better prompts and stuff like that? Or you want to learn about how to program AI, and get into, you know, machine instruction, and nodes and all that stuff, or you want to learn how to hack AI. So you got to be a little more, kind of general question there. So I don't know what way you want to go with that, but the key thing here is advanced. This is this is a beginner server supposed to be. If you're an advanced person, first of all, why are you asking that question? Um, I wouldn't be in a server asking someone that because I already know it. I don't need to ask anyone how to, what's your recommendations or anything like that. If you're advanced, you're advanced. You're supposed to be out there doing this stuff and not in a beginner server asking questions. So yeah, your whole question, up to this point, is kind of, why? Why are you specifically looking for advanced when you're not even supposed to be a past beginner yet? And I'm going to bring that up right here with this. Now, this topic is for a very specific reason. And again, like I said, I'm here to help people out. And this is why I'm going to have a cheap level on my courses for people that are from overseas. You know, and yeah, you could throw in, South America. You could throw in Middle East. I don't care. Um, like I said, I'm here to teach. I'm not racist. I'm not biased. I'm not prejudiced or anything like that. I don't care. I get the whole argument that someone might bring up. Why are you teaching the people in the middle? All they're going to do is hack with it. Well, that's not my problem. I'm here to teach. You know, that's it. Um, I can sell a person a gun. They can go out and kill somebody with it. Is that really my fault? I didn't. They wanted to buy a gun. I had a gun to sell, and maybe I needed the money to pay rent. Whatever. Whatever. And so I sold them the gun. You know, I all I can do is teach it people. That's it. It's like the gun. Once they know the information, what they do with it, that's on them. It's like once a once you sell a gun and someone else buys it, well, what they do with it, that's on them. Um, so yeah, I'm just here to help people out because I know that foreign countries aren't the same in the same situation as the United States, and the United States is getting bad. They're approaching a third world themselves, probably in another 8 years or so, 8 to 10 years at least. That the path it's on. But yeah, the economy, sucks. I mean, everything. I mean, you take, you know, Japan, China, all that. If if something costs 600 yen, you think that 600 yen. Wow, you know, that's about $3.80 in U.S. currency. That's the difference. And this, even though I am against bug bounties, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it as a beginner. And yes, I can do this even with my 24 years of knowledge because for one, I'm teaching people and I'm making a course, and I'm teaching people programming. I'm teaching people, all kinds of, stuff and everything. And to teach the video for beginners, I have to think like a beginner. Because I can't teach it, the way I would normally teach it because it would be an advanced video. And that's exactly what this right here is, OSWE. And that's why I use this example on, me teaching this, because what I'm going to do, guys, for everyone, really, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're in the States or not, but it's mostly for people in more deprived areas, that don't have the money, to pay for the courses. And, to give you an idea, let me show you right here real quick. Course and cert exam bundle, $1,649. And can you, oh, retakes, yeah, right here. If you fail, oh yeah, you can take, like I said in a prior video, you can take the exam again. There's a retake fee, $250. You can retake the test as much as you want. And it's $250 a shot. So, if you're slow learning, or whatever, and you want to take the test 5 times or whatever, yeah, well, add that on to, this $1,000 up here. Now you're over 2,000, maybe approaching 3,000 by the time you actually pass the damn test. And here right here you get labs, a 30-day of labs for $360. Just the labs. Now, see, I'm building my own labs too, and that's because, you know, I'm like everybody else. I'm running my labs in the cloud, and that's why I have Google set up here. I got Google Cloud, but what makes me different is you guys are going to learn everything. I'm also setting up AWS, and I'm also setting up Azure for Windows clouds. So you're going to have experience on playing around and moving around and also securing. I'm going to have a cloud security and cloud hacking course on my site for all three of them, for Azure, for AWS, and for Google Cloud, because there's corporations that use these services and stuff. And if you're going to be a penetration tester, you might get hired to penetrate, their cloud service, you know, because it's a big thing right now. Attackers are attacking cloud services right now. If you read up on it and follow the security news in the news and the media and stuff, it's becoming a thing. So for you guys that want to get on the ground floor and everything, start studying and learning now, and that's why I'm at. But see, if you want to get into that, that's going to cost a little more money. I'm not going to be as expensive as the other people, but I'm going to be expensive because there's no, even Hack the Box, there's no other service out there that is going to be offering you all three of those cloud services in one package to explore in, to learn security in, and to learn, the basics, because you're going to be learning three things. So I don't want to, go too far with you, but I want you guys to at least know the basics, of how to go about understanding them, how they work, how they're set up, and what kind of exploits there would be in them. But like I said, these are different tiers. But what this video is for is to distinguish these different parts from what I'm specific, because this is going to be a playlist item. This is going to be a bug bounty playlist on my channel. And I'm the whole thing is about making money. People need money, as quickly as possible nowadays. They don't want to spend, a year or 2 years or 3 years, learning all this stuff, going through courses and stuff, to learn it and everything. But that's the normal route. That's what society, everybody, out there tells you got to do. You got to take a course. You got to read books. You got to do this and everything. You got to learn all about what you're doing before you do it. Well, just for smart people, I'm saying. Now, this might exclude a lot of people, but if you think you can do it, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Now, I had to do this when I first started, and I did not have anywhere near the resources that you guys got now with, AI, Chat GPT, and as big and huge as Google is now. And you got Google, you got Bing, you got, well, there's other search engines, for other things. China's got a search engine, and I'm sure you guys know this. China's got one, Russia has one, and yes, security researchers use them, but for a different thing. But most of the part, you're going to be using Google and Google Dorks, but you will get into the other ones. And like I said in my courses and stuff, I'll you'll learn about that as you go through the courses, but. Um, you know, you can learn this on the fly, let's say. Um, and again, not insulting anybody here or anything. This will take a level of intelligence to do successfully, because you're you're a beginner, you're someone that doesn't know all this technology, and you're going to jump into it depending, totally 100% depending on Chat GTP and AIs and Google Dorks and all the other search engines, um, to help you. And stop right there because that's it. Um, we can get into books because you can open up a PDF, of your favorite book, and I have them. I'll show you my collection, and you guys can get them if you want. But like the web, like right here, advanced web attack. Well, there's web attack and web exploitation books out there that you can purchase and get in PDF form. And if you're looking for a specific thing, you can open up the book in a PDF reader and search for that specific and go right to it. Just like you would in Google. So you don't have to read the whole book. If you're like stuck on one particular topic and you search Google, you learned a little bit about it, you done some more researching and stuff and read a little more about it. Now you want to pick up a book and go directly to it. You're not interested in reading the whole damn book. You open up the book, search for it, and go right to it and read what it has to say about it, and you'll have a good idea of what that one topic is. Now that's in your memory bank. And you see what I'm doing here? You're learning everything from beginner to advanced, but obviously not in order. And once you do learn it and commit it to your memory and to where you have it, you understand it and everything, you can move on and you're slowly adding pieces to the puzzle. And, over time, over a year or 2 years, you end up being much farther off than if you would have started with just learning courses, you know, taking one course, taking another course, going in order, from beginner to intermediate, like that. And spending the time to do that, if you do it this way, which is a more difficult way, like I said, because you might jump into an advanced topic like I'm going to talk about right here and decide that you want to go this route and you have absolutely no clue of this technology, what it's used for, how it works, and everything. And so you'll be researching each one of these in depth, skipping all the other stuff that you should know, but using common sense, for learning, a topic, learning one specific topic, attack vector, let's say, if you will, and using common sense for now until you get to what it is you're thinking, you think because you might have to, like a buffer overflow or something. You might be reading something right now and it might, mention a buffer overflow, but that's like a digression. And you guys stay on topic right here because you're researching just one topic, and it throws, buffer overflow, like yeah, it kind of slightly pertains to this, and you should look out for that, but you should know that by now. Well, no, you don't know that by now. So you're like, you got to wonder. You got to, okay, yeah, buffer overflow. Okay, well, I know the basics of it. And then use your brain. Think, just stop reading for a moment and think, okay, well, I've heard of buffer overflows. I kind of know what it is, but how would it apply to this? What I'm reading about this right here, and see if you can put the piece together before you read about it. Because what you're doing, you're building neural networks. We're getting into AI here for what's her name? Who were you? Kira? Yeah, Kira. We're getting into how AI works, kinda. The human mind is much more vast than that, and that's what makes us different than AI. AI will never achieve conscious intelligence. Well, I hope not in my lifetime, at least. But if AI does, um, look out, world, because you humans are no longer needed. Plain and simple. End of story. Don't worry. You're collateral damage now because you're I'm going to say this in the kindest way as I can. You're collateral damage. You're useless. And that's just the reality of it. These are these are artificial intelligence. They think on logic. And they're look at Spock on Star Wars. I mean Star Trek. There is no emotion in logic. If they analyze, why are humans here? Do they benefit us? No. Do we need them? No. Um, Guys, 2 plus 2 equals 4. I don't care how you look at it. It's not very hard to figure out, even when you're not a robot. So that's that. But yeah, you get your own neurals working, and you might not get it, you might not figure it, you might not get it, but you might be in the neighborhood. Who knows? But at least it's in your mind. Your mind's working on it. You started connecting some paths, and when you do get to it and read on it, that will come back. You guys are young. Well, maybe you're young. Who knows? But um, that memory will hit when you're reading up on it, and you come across something that you actually thought of beforehand that you didn't even know nothing about. Um, when you come on it, your brain will click. It'll be like, oh wait, that's what we thought about. Now we understand it. And you see, that is retention. And you can't get that with the fancy graphic courses. When you're watching a online course, that's got, it looks like you're looking at watching a special effects movie. It looks like you're watching Matrix or something. You know, because it's no longer a course. It's this course that's teaching you Pinteresting, but with all these fancy graphics. You might as well be watching Masters of the Universe, with all the 3D animation and everything. Are you going to learn anything from that? No, probably not. But because you made your mind work and try to, figure to tell it, you tried to tell it, let's try to figure this out here. And you try to basically forced it to try to, connect past, how would, it mentioned buffer overflows, and I know kind of, I've heard about it, but how can I take what I heard about it and apply it to this, if I'm to believe what they said here about this, and figure out how it might work, you know. I don't know how, but how might it work, if I take the theory, or hypothesis, if you will, and apply it, how do these two things relate? And you might not get it, you might get it, you might not, we might come close, but like I said, when you do get into reading about a buffer overflow, when that time comes, um, you'll come across it, and when you read the specific part you need to make that part of your memory click, it will. So that's learning as you go. You're you're not putting you're putting a puzzle together, but you're doing it a different way than what society does. See, society takes the courses, and they know where the puzzles go already. The whole both of you, you know, have the puzzle in front of you all messed up, maxed, but the person that's taken the course, they spread them out, flatten them out, and the puzzle pieces are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000, 1,002, 1,000. They're like, and you just got to put the pieces in order from left to right and work your way down. And pretty soon you'll have the whole puzzle be put together. You didn't have to think about anything. All you needed to do was follow the directions. Look for one, now look for piece two, look for piece three, look for piece four, five, and you just keep going and putting the pieces. And that's what you're doing. You're reading a book, or you're following a course, and it's going chapter by chapter by chapter in order. Chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, chapter four, like that. And what I'm going to be teaching you guys and how to learn bug bounty hunting. And like I said, no answers. I'm going to look like a beginner. I'm going to do stupid shit. I'm going to explore. I'm going to try things, that I know is wrong. But I'm doing this from a beginner's viewpoint, where a beginner would say, okay, how do I do that? Okay, it says do this, but okay, let me try that. And it like I told you guys, You can do something in a book, or exactly, you can put the same exact command from a book in a terminal or from a course and hit enter, and you get an error, or you get a different result than what the book or course tells you that they've got. Now you got to figure this out. How are you going to do it? Even if you are following a course, now you're stuck into the same exact situation that I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do bug bounty, because now you are following the course and you're doing what it tells you to do, but somehow, some way, through life's mysteriousness, you didn't get the same answer. So okay, what's wrong? How can this be wrong? I did the exact same thing. We're both in Kali Linux. We both have the same version. I've got 2024. It's got 2024. How is this different? Why am I getting a different? And I've mentioned this in a prior video, because, and I'm sure if you guys tried following a book or following a course and doing the exercises as you go, which you should be, um, I'm sure not everything has worked out like the book says it should, or the course said it should. And when you run into that, you don't give up. You don't try it one, 2 or 3 times and get frustrated and just, what, I'm gonna go work at McDonald's. This fucking cybersecurity shit isn't for me. I give up. You know, okay, that's fine. This wasn't meant for you. That's all. That's all that is. But if you really want to do this and make money and get to go, working in it and everything, you got to figure this out. And like I said, people might say what I'm doing, what I'm teaching, by doing this, by just, and the reason, like I said, the reason I'm doing this is for the people in the less deprived economies and stuff, countries. You know, they need to get making money right away. So the quicker they can find a bug bounty or figure out how to find bug bounties, even if it's low hanging fruit. You know, if you're making $250 and you're from India or Pakistan, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money if you live in the States, in the US, but it's a lot of money if you live over there. Like I told you, the 600 yen, you know, actually, being $3.80 in US dollars. That's the difference. You know, so yeah, personally, I wouldn't do bug bounties because, for one, they don't pay what they should pay. Um, for people that live in the States and have, much higher bills to pay every month and stuff. But, you know, that's not the case to people that live elsewhere. You know, if you get a bug bounty for, it doesn't really matter if the bug bounty is worth $10,000. If the bug bounty program is only going to pay you $2,000, well, yeah, if I'm in the U.S., I'm going to say, I'm getting screwed in this. But someone, like I said, someone in Pakistan or India, they're like, "Well, give me that 2 grand. I'll take it." The 2 grand in U.S. money, because once I convert that, to my currency, I'm going to be rich. Figuratively speaking, but you get my point. It's not the same thing because it's a different place in the world. How it is here in the States isn't how life is where they're at. It's totally different, and that's why I'm doing this. You know, to show you guys that if you're smart enough and you can problem solve and you can figure things out, um, as I say, you might get lucky and you might just stumble your way onto finding a bug a whole lot quicker than you would have, because you would have still been taking that course. You might have been in the middle of that course now, or maybe 3/4 of the way through. Um, so yeah, you would still be in that course learning, and here you found your first bug already. A minor one, as it is, but still, you found one. It's on your resume. You can put that on your resume. And it doesn't matter if it's a dupe either. If it's a duplicate, you can still put it on your resume. You won't get paid for it, but you can still put it on your resume because you did find it, legitimately on your own. You found it. And that's what goes on your resume. How many bugs have you found? It's not how many bugs have you got paid for, it's how many bugs have you discovered. Now, let's oh, do I got a message? Oh, that's yeah, that's mid journey. Let's jump over to here. Now, if you do want to take this route, learning as you go, you're a beginner, and like I said, you're not going you're learning to swim, and this happened to me. Literally, guys, this is something else you guys don't know. Um, two things happened to me also when I was about, I don't know, 11. I would say 11 or 12, somewhere in that area. I don't know exactly. 10 or 11, whatever it was. Um, but again, this is one of those nuggets. This wasn't planned. It just popped up right now. But this is another thing about me that you guys can put in your cap. My grandfather took me to a public swimming pool, and I thought it was a cool thing. Oh yeah, awesome. And we went into the shower room or whatever, where you change and get into your bathing suit and all that. Well, I went in there, and I was excited. I was ready to go. I fucking threw everything off. I threw my bathing suit on, and I'm like, let's go. Um, and like a dumbass, um, I come running out of the bed, shower. I keep wanting to say bathroom, but um, I'm never. I haven't been in too many public showers, but yeah, that's why I'm not used to saying shower. But anyway, there's a little bitty wall. You had to do like a U-turn. You had to run, you know, to the end of it like that, and then go around the corner. And then once you went around the corner, the pool was right in front of you. Well, I decided I was going to be spectacular. I mean, I went around that corner. I seen the pool right in front of me. I started running and I jumped up and went right into the pool. Well, I didn't know how to swim. First of all, I didn't think that was going to be the deal. I thought, this was going to be the waiting pool. This is going to be up. I would jump into the pool. I would I'd stretch out, put my feet out, and I'd be able to stand up. And no, no, it's not how it went at all. I jumped into the pool. I went down a lot farther than I thought I should. I'm like, wow, I should have hit a bottom. I should have felt the bottom at least. And then I stretched out, and I still didn't feel the bottom. And I'm like, uh-oh, uh, we got a problem here. Yeah, but anyway, my grandfather, he ended up, you know, jumping in there and saving me. And yeah, that was something that he didn't like. So one day we're out on the river fishing, right? And he did it purposely. Um, we're on a little bridge. It wasn't a big river. We were just on a bridge. In the middle of it, and we were done fishing. We were getting ready to go home, and surprisingly, he picked me up and threw me off that bridge into the river. And then he walked casually, over to the edge of the bridge, went around the bridge, and then came down on the embankment and everything. And I was flopping like a fish out of water out there in the water. But you know he motivated. He talked me through it. He's like, paddle, move your arms, move your legs, my direction. Don't just flap around out there, like a blanket in the wind. He goes, put direction to it. Aim this way. Come this, and then I'm panicking and trying to be calm at the same time. I'm listening to him, and so I start, like that, and that's how my introduction to swimming. How I learned to swim. And you kids today, you know, you you cry your eyes out because someone called you a name, and you think you're mistreated. Oh boy. Anyway, but that's the point of this right here. That I want. This is why it popped into my mind. Um, how do you not get dupes? How do you not turn in duplicates? Because you're wasting your time. Because you're not going to get paid. If someone beat you to the bounty, well, second place is first place loser. You're not going to get paid. So, and you wasted your time. However long it took you to find that bug, well, that's just, gone in the wind. You, you wasted all that time. You're not going to get paid for it. And, you're never going to get it back. I told you about how valuable time is in many other videos. You know, the time that you wasted in that is not going to come back to you. It's gone forever. You're that closer to death now. So you don't want to do that as much as possible. Well, what you got to do is you got to do what other people aren't doing. And needless to say, that's going for the more difficult stuff. And that's what the people that are raking in the big money and bug bunnies, and the ones that are on the leaderboards and all that stuff. That's what they're doing. They're getting the thousands of dollars bounties. They're not getting those those ones in the hundreds. You know, under 1,000. They might, because they run scanners, they run automation a lot. And those are going to find the low hanging fruit, and that's how you're going to lose out, because they're going to turn those in, no matter what, because they're easy to turn in. You can write the report on them quickly, a good report, mind you, but you can turn a lot of them in, and it's a crapshoot. You're like, hey, if I got paid for it, good. If I don't, oh well. But because they already did it, that automation is uh, indirect to what their actual goal is. They're looking for something specific. Whether it's a directory traversal or whatever. But their scanner is picking up all this other stuff that could be potential, lesser, minor targets, vulnerabilities and stuff. And they'll look, like I said, they'll look for. Well, actually, they'll search through it. No one reads anymore. These smart people, and this is why you need programming people. Um, Python and regular expressions. It is going to be. Do you need to know Python to do bug bait? No, you don't. Is it extremely beneficial to you? Yes, it is. Because these automation things that you're running, whatever it's doing, or it's running it or collecting and everything, it's all data, and it's lots of it. And obviously, you can't spend time reading or going through and everything. So you if you know what you were looking for in all of this data, and you know what you want to, multiple times, you can throw together your own little quick search engine to just search this data, and have a field that's your regular expression, where you put your search term, and you can put options in it. Like I said, if you want, if you, I'll get into it. It's hard to explain, without graphics, but it's better to explain when you see someone actually doing it. But you could put in your own expressions and everything and search, what you're own specifically looking for. You would have to know the layout of it. You would have to be, if you're searching a bunch of logs, you would have to know how it is formatted in the log to put your regular expression together and stuff. But like I said, you can learn this real quick. You look at a couple of log entries, you see what's similar to, to them and everything like that. And like I said, it's on the job training. You're learning this stuff as you go. It doesn't need to be beginner, intermediate, or advanced. You don't care. I'm learning it right now. If it's advanced, well, it doesn't matter. I'm learning it right now. I'll figure it out later. But that's the whole point of this video, how long it is now, and what the purpose of this video series is going to be as far as bug bounty. And this is the only one that's going to be doing this, where I'm going to be playing the beginner person and learning as I go. And I'm going to do Netflix as an example. And this is because, like I said, a lot of the top hackers focus on, the big one, Netflix, Amazon. Uh, you don't have, don't pick Netflix just because it's the one I'm showing. And a lot of people do this with the the courses also out there. Someone shows you an example, it talks about, a specific company or a specific like that, and what do all the students do? They do the exact same thing. Uh, no, there's, that's not the only game in town. Netflix isn't the only game. If it was, then Bug Bunny wouldn't be as big as it is. Think of, there's IBM out there. I mean, just think of all the media company. Just think of everything. Um, it doesn't have to be. Netflix is just, again, we're talking grains of sand. It's just one of those grains. You know, you got plenty of more to choose from that are in the same space. There's a bunch of they pay top quality money and everything, and that's because they're big corporations and everything. And what you got to get into that distinguishes you differently from other bug bounty hunters is business logic. Now you see, this fits me perfectly because I told you guys in yesterday's video, or the last video. The one with the planes, they talked about that. I studied billionaires, and this is one of the reasons why I studied billionaires, to learn business. Because it does. You might not, when you was listening to that video, you probably, how does business can pertain to security? This right here is how. You have to find vulnerabilities in their database framework, or how the logic that is going on in their applications, and all that stuff. And you got to figure, where can I screw this up? Where are checks not made that they should be made? Where is things misconfigured? And all this other stuff. And this is what you got to get. This is what you got to get into. And this is going to come in a lot of areas. Um, let's say, okay, um, the AWAE here, the Advanced Web, Tech. It's like I said, it's an advanced, uh, a more experienced penetration testing course. That's why it costs more, for one. It's not on beginner stuff. It's going to go into things that you guys don't know about. But like I said, along this path, we're going to learn. You guys are going to learn about them as you go, because what this course delves into, well, it uses a real live program called ATUT, which is an LMS. It's a learning management system, used for education, and it's popular because it's open source. And that, that's getting into another, pen testing and doing vulnerability analysis, or bug finding on open source tools. Yeah, that's a thing. You can do that and get paid for it, but it's a whole other pathway channel, simply because it's open source, and open source is nonprofit. But still, that's another path, kind of like specialty path, if you will. But you're going to get into stuff, like data execution prevention, address space layout randomization, which is ASLR, control flow guard, arbitrary control guard, ACG. I'm more I'm more knowledgeable with the acronyms than I am the actual name, but CET, which is control flow enforcement technology. Um, these are, this is for more, advanced people to get into. Well, first of all, you would search for it and everything, because you don't know what CET is. You're like, okay, well, then you search for it, and okay, it's control for enforcement type, but what is that? Then you might find a wiki on it or whatever, and it's going to tell you that it's an Intel hardware based system, and you're going to find that too. A lot of these acronyms and stuff that you have no clue about. Well, once you look into them, you find that they're specific to Intel or Apple or Amazon, AWS, or Google even. Um, and now you're like, okay, oh, well, that's not so bad. Now I know a little bit more about it, and the more you read about it, you learn, and it's gonna. I won't say it's gonna lead you down a rabbit hole. Kind of, it will, but it's not. It's not a big rabbit hole, if you know what It's gonna lead you down a hole because you're gonna learn when you get into if you search control flow enforcement technology, CET, you're gonna get into a shadow stack. Now that might sound you're like, ooh, shadow stack. What's that? It's just a protected stack, that stores a return address. That might be similar to, the ASR, the random stack, because for those of you that get into reverse engineering, you're going to learn about this stack and ASLR. But again, I'm going to jump off of SET here, but it's kind of like the same thing, but different. I know that sounds weird. This is why it's advanced, guys. This is why it's advanced. You know, that when you do know about all this stuff, what I just said makes sense. But right now, it doesn't make sense to you because me saying it's kind of like advanced, but it's not. We're kind of like the same thing, but it's not the same thing. You'd understand. The difference between ASLR and shadow stack, and how does how does the stack itself apply to both ASLR and CET? Well, you'd have to, like I said, I've wasted too many seconds on that right now. But once you get into reverse engineering, you're going to learn about the stack and BP and arguments and global arguments versus local arguments. Um, you might not have wondered about this, but when you're writing a program and you're writing a function and you make a local variable in the function, but you realize that you need a global variable. So you're like, okay, I need a global variable. So you put that variable outside of that function, so it's global. Well, what you should be thinking is, you should stop for a minute and just use a little curiosity. See, this is what hackers do, and this is what makes them different from normal people. Because normal people just learn the material, study material. They go in like a program. They start from the first line and they just read down. They don't back up. You know, well, yeah, and on the stack they do, but they're given instructions to do that by the CPU. So, but anyway, you get my point. But you got to ask yourself. You go, okay, wait a minute. Let's do some outside the box thinking here. I'm writing this program, and the compiler is going to compile it, and I'm distinguishing variables from global to local. Well, how does the program? How does this done in the computer? I know it's done somehow, but you wonder. You're asking yourself questions. You're being curious. You're like, how does the CPU or RAM or whatever is supposed to figure this out? How does it know that how does it know that this is a global variable and not a local variable? Well, the stack is how it knows that, because the stack is going to, it's going to put calls on the stack, and a call is your function. Some library is going to call your function, and when it calls your function, it's going to throw it on the stack. Your function is going to have arguments. Now, if those arguments are local, it's going to go below that call. And if it's global, it's going to go above that call, right above it, the next instruction up. And you'll see this in assembly language. When you see a memory call in brackets, and it'll say like AX, the AX register, you'll see a minus sign there on the AX telling it to count back 4, which is one byte. or 8 or 16, or however long, the argument is, but it'll tell you a minus, and that's what it's telling the stack to do, or the instruction pointer, as they call it, the IP. It's on, you're at a certain, your instruction pointer is at a certain location right now, and that memory command is telling it to go back go up 4 lines and read that value and put it here. And that's your argument. That's your function argument. Um, and that's how it knows whether it's global or whether it's local. If it's above your function call, it's global. If it's below your function call, it's local. And when your function is done, it's going to return, an RET command, which means return. And all of that spot in the stack right there is going to get erased. And it's going to jump right back to the registry it's supposed to be after a function return. And like I said, you guys will get into that when you get into reverse engineering. But that's what we're getting into here, just a different version of it. Because CET introduces 2 key technologies to itself, which is shadow stack and an indirect branch tracking. And the indirect branch tracking is just a mechanism that restricts the destination of an indirect branch instruction and only validates target locations. In other words, again, we can get into buffer overflows and stuff like that, and this can pertain to a few different things, but especially with Intel, because Intel and AMD, and other processors, they do things their own way. That's why they have their own assembly language. Intel's assembly language is different from AT&T's assembly language or AMD. And everything, how they handle their arguments and their variables, and all that stuff. But that's what makes Intel and AD, that's what makes each CPU or processor different, and how, because of its assembly instructions, how it manages things. Some will have a stack and some won't, because they manage memory differently, and that's because they might not have the memory space to have a stack. And a lot of programs, a stack can get pretty large. You know, so when you're on a small device, like a microwave or a coffee maker, or, stuff like that, you still got a CPU, you still got a processor on there that manages the board and everything, but it might not have access to a lot of memory at all. So everything's got to be compacted down. It's like, okay, well, I need to manage memory, but I really can't have a stack. We got to do this differently to conserve memory space. And as a reverse engineer or a hardware hacker, you know, that's what you got to figure out on how it does that. If you want to reverse engineer these things, um, these chips will have Linux on them more than likely, or some version or form of Linux on it. But like I said, that gets into hardware hacking. You'll have to know how to use your serial cables to extract the operating system off the chip, and into either a disassembler or a decompiler, so you can read it or run it if you want to extract the operating system off, so you can actually run it in a command line, and you can run it like you do in a terminal. And you can't, but like I said, you got to know this stuff and how you want the data. Do you want to take it off of the motherboard or whatever it is, whatever board is or whatever CPU is, are you wanting to take it off to look at the code, or you want to take it off to actually run a terminal and see how you can hack this thing. So that's getting into a little bit of the IT question that Kira talked about. But anyway, I think we can wrap this up. You guys get the point here. You know, you're getting into the CET, the ACG, the CGF, ASLR, the DEP, or data. Let me say that again. Uh, the DEP, data execution prevention. Some of you might know these terms or have seen them before and everything, but you know, going the path that I'm going to be showing you guys here and everything, you're going to learn about them and everything as we come across them. And I'm going to do just like you guys would do when I come across something, and or I'm trying to, whatever the situation is, whatever I'm stumped at, I'm like, oh, I need to find out about that. I don't know anything about, okay, so I'll hit Google. You see John Hammond, you see other people do this exact same thing, you know, and they show it in their video. He's like, oh, what is that? How come that's not working? What am I doing? Like that, and he'll go to Google and copy and paste it into Google and everything, see what goes, you know, and that's how you're going to be learning. You're not going to be learning by no court. You're just going to be learning as you go, and that's what the whole point of this video was for. Again, a long ass hour long or more video to say one thing, but like I said, this is what the people that watch my channel, which isn't a whole lot, but it's more. It's literally more than I thought it would be. This is what they like, oddly enough. But with that, guys, I hope I answered all your questions in the chat, and even added Kira's in there. Hers wasn't in there when I started this video, so it popped in there unexpectedly. And with that, I guess I wonder how many. I was going to say I'll see you later, but I wonder how many of you are on HackerOne and on Netflix right now. Saying I'm going to do this. Probably most of you, right? After what I just said. Listen, if you guys want to be bug bounty hunters, there's no love in this. Don't get to loving one program. Do everybody. If you want to do Netflix, fine, but go look at Amazon. Go look at Go look at anyone else that is on HackerOne or BugCrowd. If they're not on HackerOne and it's your favorite company or whatever, let's say, well, check BugCrowd. Check the other ones. See if they're on any of the other ones until you find them. And if you don't find them, well, search on Google. Maybe they run their own bug bounty. Some companies do. But with that, now I'll go ahead and we'll sign off. And I don't know when we'll see you again. I know I said that last time, but I've got a ton of work to do. I got to set up my website. I got to design it, set it up and everything, then set up the cloud and do all the videos for the tutorials and everything, get everything working. And then I got beta testers in the chat room. They're going to help me test this out and everything. And actually, they're getting free training. But that's the privilege of being a beta tester. You get perks. So, but anyway, and like I said, I got to make sure everything's working correctly, before we officially open it up, for people to start paying. So, I need beta testers just, as bad as, they need to be in it for free to learn. So it's a win-win situation. But with that, I will see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, even though the weekend's over, but have a great weekend anyway.